we want to talk a little bit about the Aruba technology. And from our perspective, we look at Aruba, we obviously look at all technology across the industry, but Aruba really is kind of an underdog. Like they're not as visible as a lot of their peers out there, but they truly have some pretty amazing technology. So let's talk a little bit about some examples of how Aruba is getting into supporting this new environment. So all the stuff we've talked about, of whether it be, proximity-based businesses or work from home, how are they reacting from a technology leader perspective? Bill, what do you think?
Aruba is a really interesting company for this space. Many people know Aruba as enterprise wireless networking and an absolute leader in that space. When I look at who Aruba is today within the HPE portfolio, they're a leader across wireless networking and security. And it's kind of the integration and bringing together of all of those solutions that puts them in the unique position. It's one of the reasons they're one of the vendors that we've chosen to go to market for our clients. They have technologies to allow remote access from homes via hardware, extend your enterprise wireless network to a home. They have security software that can help, segment and provide visibility and security into my network. And they have enterprise networking that goes all the way in through the data center and provides unprecedented visibility. So when I start thinking about all the things we've really talked about today, Aruba brings something to the table across all of those foundational network infrastructure areas that kind of help support this mission. And David talked about interoperability earlier and how important that is. Again, all of the Aruba solutions are kind of built on this open standards foundation and platform and highly interoperable.
Sorry, I was on.
Cheryl.
I thought I was on mute too. Cheryl, what do you think?
I agree with Bill. I think, Aruba's got a nice portfolio of platforms, one being their Wave platform that gives a lot of visibility to users and devices where they are within, if you're in your office, where in the office you are. It provides a really great platform to, initially the main goal of that platform was troubleshooting wireless network issues. And now with the current situation, they've been able to take that data. They are one that has kind of built out this cloud AI infrastructure to take all these feeds of data now and provide us some additional points of information. So for example, maybe HR gets notified that one of your employees might have tested positive. We can take this data now and determine where has that employee been in the last week. Maybe they've been mostly at their desk and in the break room. And so based on that information, then we can respond and say, okay, these areas are going to need a deep clean because this person has been in these particular areas. So I do think that they are in a unique position where a lot of that visibility and data is available, and now it's kind of munging it into something that's useful for this contact tracing and identifying certain areas that might need additional attention. And the interoperability is key because it doesn't matter what your wireless vendor is, that Airwave platform can interact with that and give you that same visibility and data, whether you're Cisco wireless, Aruba wireless, Mist wireless, whatever it may be.
I think that's a super important point that is done. Actually, I guess Bill was talking about earlier, like depending on your network, and you may want to be making changes, you may want to adjust things, but you may not be able to right now, but you have to implement some of these new technologies to solve real problems right now. And you can't do a forklift upgrade right away. So the ability to have that interoperability, I would agree, from the people we talk to, is huge, huge, huge value.
Let's talk to the wireless guy.
Yeah. So there's a few terms been thrown around here. Contact tracing is one, proximity tracing is another. I think, the contact tracing is obviously important so we can see where those infections are coming from. We know the areas of our facility where those are coming from, but also proximity tracing kind of removes that kind of that stigma or the privacy issue from contact tracing. If we just, proximity tracing rather is about just keeping people socially distanced. So we need to identify those areas in our facility where, maybe too many people are gathering. And that's something that Aruba can do with Airwave and also with their cloud management platform. Very simple to do, collect that data with a plethora of radios that are now in the access points. We can see, where those users are, and we can identify those areas without getting into privacy issues. So I think that's something pretty important, a pretty simple step that that customers can take for that.
Can you give me an example of like a use case where contact and proximity tracing makes a lot of sense, or like how a business might deploy and then like utilize this technology?
Yeah, I can think of a few. I mean, just think of it on a large scale. Think of an Amazon facility where people are moving all over the place. They have a huge number of workers, and then they probably all have to move things to a certain area. Proximity tracing there is really just about, making sure those areas are identified and you put in different work, different work situations for those. That applies to, I think, lots of businesses where you have a number of people inside a single facility. They're constantly moving around. They have to go to different areas of the facility. It's all about, at that point, it's about, finding ways to, make that safe, keep those areas, less crowded.
So a friend of
I think
mine,
from like a proximity, I'm sorry, Cam.
I'm not saying anything important.
I was just going to mention from a proximity standpoint, we work a lot with hotels, casinos, large public venues. We're starting to see those open up all over the country. Proximity tracing is huge in those environments where they could react quickly, to make sure they're adhering to state and local mandates and standards, and or making decisions on, is there a different way than in a casino they have to spread out gaming machines, rest areas, restaurants, things like that. As those businesses are reopening, they need to be cognizant and kind of understanding of where the people are gathering in their facilities.
So hold on. So I'm not that smart because I just had this idea now, and I'm sure I'm going to say it and you're going to be like, yeah. But it stands to me that with this type of technology in place, even after the pandemic dies down, like that information could still be super valuable. I mean, thinking of a casino as an example you just tossed out there, I would love to know where people at my casino are always going, because what am I going to do? Right? Am I crazy?
Absolutely.
Or is that actually like something I can do with this?
No, I alluded to it. I think there's a tremendous amount of business intelligence to be gained from these platforms. And to Don's point, security and privacy is a huge issue to concern. And, you have platforms where you can opt in or users can opt in and maybe even be rewarded in a retail environment for downloading an app that provides more fidelity. But there's a tremendous amount of contact and proximity tracing systems that can do a lot of passive scanning and passive identifying of Bluetooth devices and wireless devices and technologies and such without any kind of invasion of privacy.
Can you, sorry, I know I'm kind of asking a million questions, but clearly both you and Don have mentioned we can do all this and capture this information without invading your privacy. Can you qualify that a little bit? Like just walk me through like how you're capturing the data and how it preserves my privacy, what little of it I have left.
Don, you want to grab that one or you want me to?
Sure, no, I'll take that one. So right now, as I think Cheryl mentioned, all this information from all this radio information, where those users are in your facility, that's all been done for a number of years for troubleshooting purposes, for reporting purposes. But now, we're just using it in a different way now. We're not worried about, who the user is in the proximity tracing case. We're just worried about, where they are in the facility. And so that's mature technology that's been in place for a number of years now. We're just utilizing it in a different way.
Gotcha.
So let's, I guess, on that note, and we can move on. But I guess it begs the question: Structured obviously deals with a lot of businesses, as well as Aruba does. It seems like though the focus in everything now is around just the technology and not necessarily in what you guys are saying is some of the use cases, right? So I guess step one is get the technology implemented, make sure it's up and running. That's solving an immediate problem. But I guess phase two really is, if I'm a business, and we are, if you're a business, all the data that I'm going to get, the ability to actually change my core processes or change my business processes internally seems huge, right? Am I misunderstanding that? It seems like a great opportunity to shift the business a little bit. He's nodding his head.
Absolutely.
So I'm assuming he's telling me I'm right, but
no, absolutely. And that brings up what Cheryl brought up earlier. I mean, there's a tremendous opportunity for people in process here as part of that integration and understanding. And I think what's really interesting is this kind of technology can also bring teams together within an organization, right? Because now I might be involving, marketing, HR, other departments as we think about how do we glean some intelligence. This is back to technology we've been kind of deploying in large public venues and casinos and hotels for years in some fashion. Retail has been quick to jump on this trend over the last few years. I think this just keeps accelerating that, and really, again, highlights the people, process, and business intelligence side of this data correlation and use.
I guess that's what I was thinking of. That the question is who is involved with this? It's not just the sysadmin or the director of IT, or it's now this is a CFO issue. This is a CEO issue. This is a marketing issue. Everybody is now on the bandwagon, and obviously the leadership probably is coming from the technical side, but it's much bigger than it was before.
I think every IT department right now is fighting for dollars and budgets in their environments, and providing more business value, getting more teams involved from the organization, and getting kind of board and executive level attention because of what the business impact might be, can help them get the funds that they need to do the critical infrastructure projects that they want to do.